Everyone back today with Judges chapter 2. It talks about this. It says this. Israel's disobedience. Now the angel of the Lord went up from Gilgal to Bochum, and he said, I brought you up from Egypt and brought you into the land that I swore to give you to your fathers. I said, I will never break my covenant. It says, I will never break my covenant with you. You shall make no covenant with the inhabitants of this land. You shall break down their altars, but you have not obeyed my voice. What is this you have done? So now I say, I will not drive them out before you, but they shall become thorns in your sides, and their gods, or their demons pretty much, shall be a snare to you. As soon as the angel of the Lord spoke these words to all the people of Israel, the people lifted up their voices and wept, and they called the name of that place Bochum. They sacrificed there to the Lord. Now the angel of the Lord is pretty much God. It's just another name for the Lord. The death of Joshua. When Joshua dismissed the people of Israel went each to his inheritance to take possessions of the land. And the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders who outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great work that the Lord had done for Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, had died at the age of 110 years. They buried him within the boundaries of his inheritance in Timoth-Heres in the hill country of Ephraim, north of the mountain of Gash, and all the generation also who were gathered to their fathers. And there arose another generation after them who did not know the Lord, or the work that he had done for Israel. Israel's unfaithfulness. And the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and served the Baals, that's plural form demons, pretty much, demonic gods. And they abandoned the Lord, the God of their fathers, who is of course Christ, who had brought them out of the land of Egypt. They went after other gods or demons from among the gods of the people who were around them, and bowed down to them. So since Israel turned their back on God, who is Christ, and they turned to gods, or really demons that ticked off God, and now He's about to send His destruction upon them. And they provoked the Lord to anger. They abandoned the Lord and served the Baals and the Asherah. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. He gave them over to plunderers who plundered them, and He sold them to the land of their surrounding enemies, so that they could no longer withstand their enemies. Whenever they marched out, the hand of the Lord was against them for harm, as the Lord had warned, as the Lord had sworn to them, and they were in terrible distress. So whenever you turn your back on God, God will actually become your enemy, which is pretty, what do you call it, eye-awakening, I guess you could say. Because whenever you're living for the Lord, whenever you're living for the Lord, He will be with you. But as soon as you turn away from God, He will allow destruction to come upon you. The Lord raises up judges. Then the Lord raises up judges who serve them out of the hand of those who plundered them. Yet they did not listen to their judges, for they whored after any gods and bow down to them. They soon turned aside from the way in which their fathers had walked, who had obeyed the commandments of the Lord, and they did not do so. Whenever the Lord raised up judges for them, the Lord was with the judge, and He saved them from the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. For the Lord was moved to pity by their groaning because of those who afflicted and oppressed them. But whenever the judge died, they turned back and were more corrupt than their fathers, going after other gods, serving them and bowing down to them. They did not drop any of their practices or their stubborn ways. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and He said, because this people has transgressed my covenant that I commanded their fathers, and have not obeyed my voice, I will no longer drive out before them any of the nations that Joshua left when he died, in order to test Israel by them, whether they will take care to walk in the way of the Lord, as their fathers did or not. So the Lord left those nations, not driving them out quickly, and He did not give them into the hand of Joshua. So, that's chapter 2 of Judges. It talks about Israel's disobedience. They start rebelling against God, and they start falling back into their sin. Joshua dies. Israel's unfaithfulness, meaning they continue to rebel against God, they continue in sin, and then the Lord raises up judges to stop Israel from what they're doing and to warn Israel. But then whenever a righteous judge dies, Israel goes right back to their sins. So it's just a back and forth issue. Basically, Israel will live for God for a little while, and then they'll turn away from God, and they'll turn back to their sin. And then God will allow something bad to happen to them, and they'll turn back to God for a little while, and then they'll go right back to their sins. So it's just a back and forth thing, man. So anyway, that's chapter 2. I'll be right back with chapter 3 here in a minute.